Good evening, Namaskar, Jai Hind. A warm welcome to all on today's episode of Osho, our National Treasure. I'm your host Shweta Rana and you're watching us on N9 Live. I'm very happy today because once again with me is Anand Sheela, my first guest.
I thank you, Shweta, for inviting me.
Thank you, Ma, for being here again. And I'm your fangirl right now since I've just watched the documentary Searching for Sheila. I'm elated to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
My second guest today is Mr. Abhay Vaidya.
Thank you.
Mr. Abhay Vaidya is a gold medalist in journalism from University of Pune, a master's in political science from Indiana University, Pennsylvania under a Rotary Foundation scholarship, and a journalist with 30 plus years of experience. He was the Washington correspondent of Times of India and also Times of India's assistant resident editor and then the resident editor of DNA. He was the first resident editor of Hindustan Times in Pune and part of the launch team in 2017, and now is with an international policy research think tank as an associate director. He is the author of the book Who Killed Osho and was credited for it in the movie Searching for Sheila. He has been covering the ashram since 1987 and does it till date. Ma, my first question to you today is, why have you been referred as an anti-hero? Because none of us have lived a moment of your life. Why have you been referred as an anti-hero?
I don't know. I have no idea why people call me many things they do call, but it is their way of relating to me, I assume. And all these situations are, or the words they use are journalistic. I guess they have made me into a big villain, and that's why they call me anti-hero.
You have been speaking of an unwanted baggage on your shoulders. What is it and why is it there with you?
It is the baggage that Bhagwan has put on my back after I left him. And somehow every XYZ has opinion of me. Others' opinion become an excess baggage
Very true.
on somebody's life. People should think about loading up people with their opinions. But I have strong shoulders. I will carry it with pleasure and smile.
The spirit of Ma Anand Sheela is something that cannot be replicated by anyone. And I always say it, that your spirit is what is indomitable about you.
Yes, many people tried to break my spirit after I left Bhagwan, but it hasn't, they haven't succeeded. Even while I was in prison, they had instructions to break my spirit. But somehow existence protected me all throughout my life and have preserved the fragrance of my spirit intact.
Abhay, so now my question comes for you. You have covered the ashram since 1987. And Ma Sheela is one person everyone loves to talk about, whether you want to know it or not. You may ask them, you may not ask them, but a fleeting reference to her is always given by everyone. You had never met Ma Sheela before, and then you met her, interacted with her, because you're the man who has showed Ma Sheela Pune and was a part of a tour for the filming of Searching for Sheila. Did you find Ma Sheela to be a way different person than what you had heard about her over the years?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. And I must give you a bit of a background, which would be interesting for my friend Sheila also. Uh, when I came to know that you have arrived in India, Sheila, I got in touch with Chaitanya Kirti, and I said that I have met almost everybody important connected with the Osho movement except Ma Sheila. And if necessary, I am willing to fly down to Delhi and meet her if possible. So he said yes, he would try and he would get back. And 2 days later, I got this call from the Searching for Sheila team saying that Ma Sheila is coming to Pune and we would like to record your conversation with her and we would like you to show her around the commune, etc. So it was such a, pleasant turn of events for me. And then, of course, we met when you were in Pune. And yes, it was a very pleasant 2 days that I got to spend with Sheila and show her around some of the important places which she remembered from 35 years ago. And you would say you of course there was no German bakery then, and so I mentioned German bakery to you and you said yes, there's no recollection of that, and certainly not because you had left Pune in 1981 and that bakery came up after that but became a very popular spot close to the Kosho commune. And then you mentioned the Blue Diamond Hotel and we went there. And one of the most important places where I could take Sheila to was the Tulsiram Ghat, where Osho was cremated. I, because I was there on that day, January 1990, when it happened, and I took Ma Sheila there and I showed her that this is where the cremation had happened and how it had happened. And you were so touched. We see that in the film also that you said that finally you have connected with the master. So my the Sheila that I met in October 2019 and the Sheila that the image of hers that comes across from the years of Oregon are two different personalities. And I found extremely um, warm-hearted person. We exchanged a lot of notes on the Osho movement. Some of the things that you told me, Sheila, about the special bonding that you had with your parents was something so touching. And how one thing that you said was your father particularly would take a bite from each other's plate, and you said that how it contributes to bonding within the family. And so this was a very warm person that I met. At the same time, she was Sheila, and she is Sheila. So very firm in her views, and all the travels and all the extraordinary phases of her life, um, right from the time when you met Mark Anderson, Sheila. And that story, which is there in your book, uh, is also extraordinary. So I think I'll stop here.
Ma, my question to you is, there is this moment in the movie, Searching for Sheila, where you show us the picture hanging on the walls of your home, where your parents have visited you 8 days after your release. The pic of freedom, freedom from the point of view of the world, and to be surrounded by the love of parents. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, after I left prison for 7 days, I was unable to sleep. I was unable to close the eyes. Not that I open my eyes and I find myself in prison. I could not believe it. And my parents came as soon as they got the message that I'm released. They came to visit me in Germany, where I was at that moment in Baden-Baden. And it was a divine moment, floods of tears among us, hugging and holding one another, and just letting the flow of emotion flow. It was a rare moment. I was so happy to see my father, mother, and of course, they made this journey just to see me in one piece. And I was there for them as they had remembered me before.
And understand. Your book, Don't Kill Him, is about you moving on
Right.
after leaving Rajneeshpuram. And I am reading it right now. I am reading your book, Don't Kill Him. Why, according to you, are people still so stuck on to what happened? It's been so many years.
It is sad. People don't know in their own life to move on.
Exactly.
They hold on to tragedy, they hold on to hate, they hold on to their opinions as if it was a treasure. And somehow, all people have never learned to take life on a face value. If you take life on a face value, you will instantly understand life is a flux, it moves. There is nothing stagnant about life. And when life becomes stagnant, it is negative, hateful, stinking life. And I definitely do not choose to live in that stink. I have a future ahead of me. Why will I rot in the same opinions of people? But at the same time, I have learned generosity from my parents. And I allow people to ask me the same questions over and over again. They say, why do you say the same thing? But I can only narrate the experience I have. Otherwise, you will say I'm fantasizing. New problem for Sheila then. Then I will hear, not that Sheila is criminal, but Sheila is a fantasizer. They have problem with others, no matter what. If you are positive, it is a problem. If you are outspoken, it is a problem. If you live your life, it is a problem. They have to learn to accept. And I am not preparing any questions or ahead of time in my entire career. I have never prepared. I used to hate school. I used to hate school exams. I have learned not to prepare. What I feel, I say it in front of it. People have seen Wild Wild Country. I was interviewed 5 days from morning till evening. They presented questions to me. They asked the questions in front of the camera. Before that, I didn't know any questions, what they had or what their intention was. It is the same way I have functioned in searching for Sheela. I was followed every day. I had never waited for Anurag or Sipping Thought to present me with my schedule ahead of time. We were requesting it to give structure to our trip, but in India to give such structures are very difficult. I'm Indian born. I know this in my blood. And I would tell my both secretaries, don't get annoyed. It is okay. It will all come together in the end. When I came to Pune, as Abhay speaks about our meeting, halfway on the road, I find out that we are going to Pune. Because the film team wanted to film me, my emotions through the Pune. Because I was so deeply associated with Bhagwan, his work, Pune Ashram, and I could understand. And I said, okay. So people have to understand that life is not the way planned, as many people try to plan it and then get frustrated. That's why I'm not frustrated. I don't know if I answered your question, Shweta, correct, Abba?
Of course.
The answer came out of me.
Whenever you speak, I only listen to you because you speak what it just should be. What it just should be. What you said is very right. What you said is very right, and you answered my question very, very correctly. Abhay sir, you've been covering the ashram for the last 34 years. What was it earlier when Bhagwan was there and after his passing and now in the later years? What is it that has changed about the ashram?
No, a lot has changed. So I started covering the ashram from 1987. And Sheila, it would be interesting for you to know, which of course we have discussed before, that between 1987 and 1990, when Bhagwan died, the ashram was a very lively place. And there were various festivals that would take place. There would be a lot of music and dance that would happen in the Buddha Hall. And there was a very prominent bookshop in the ashram. There were tours for people, which I'm sure happened in Pune one also, uh, when visitors would come to see what this ashram is all about, and there would be um, for a long time, Osho had stopped giving discourses, but he would give darshan in the evenings, in the during the white robe meditation. A lot of poets, lot of artists uh, would come and visit the ashram and give performances. So it was a very lively place. And as one entered lane number one in Koregaon Park, you could hear the sounds of music. And of course, there would be about at least between 2,000 to 5,000 Osho sannyasins in Koregaon Park area living around the ashram. So there was always their movement, and that was how it was uh, till 1990, and maybe another few years after that. But a lot started changing after Osho's death. One was people were asked to leave the commune, and as I have investigated and presented in the book the, Who Killed Osho, a lot of planning seemed to have been done in 1989 itself of how the ashram should be run after Osho is not there. So this people being asked to leave, the sannyasins being asked to leave the ashram ceremoniously or unceremoniously, mostly unceremoniously. Um, and there were some controversies around it when Nilamma and the way in which she was asked to leave the ashram, who was Osho's secretary. And then one fine day, uh, all of Osho's pictures from the commune were removed. We reported that. Uh, then, somewhere around 2007, uh, suddenly they started saying that the samadhi doesn't exist, and we made a mistake by calling it a samadhi, which was reported by Times of India on page one. All these changes started happening, and it came to a stage. Then, of course, there was this copyright and trademark battle, where now Osho, in all caps, is a brand and a trademark in Europe. You can't use it without paying a royalty to Osho International Foundation. The headquarters of the trust is outside India. The copyrights and intellectual properties are outside India. And the most recent thing that has happened, which has sparked the Osho followers all over the world, is this attempt to sell property uh, for rupees 107 crores to an industrialist. Now, this is not anybody's personal property to be sold like that. This is a property created by all the followers. And Sheila, you played a prominent role in Pune one itself in raising money for the ashram. I remember the references of the ashram bank that you created and how you raised money to buy properties in Pune one itself. And all of it belongs to the trust, and all of it belongs to the followers for sure. And this is the raging controversy which is happening now. So these are the changes which have happened over the years. Now, of course, it's a completely deserted place. Uh, there are some reports on the internet about it when most people are not allowed to enter the premises. Uh, a lot of places inside the commune, there is about 20-25 acres of prime real estate in Koregaon Park with the commune. Is in a kind of a state of neglect, and it's quite a sad state of affairs. What you should.
I I have one comment about what you just said. And this comment is that everybody should go to Charity Commissioner and demand that ashram be opened up to everyday worshippers. It is a public asset. It was created from public funds, and they have to open the ashram to Bhagwan's followers. It is not a private property of any sannyasins. I have heard some horrid news that the Devaraj, now known as Amrito, has said that Bhagwan did not want an Indian-style ashram. Who is he to say Bhagwan did not want? I have never heard Bhagwan say anything like that. And I was with him 14 years, not a short time. And almost all 14 years I worked for ashram and then became a secretary to Bhagwan. So somewhere they want to loot Bhagwan. Queen looted India, and Amrito is looting Bhagwan in Pune. And Charity Commissioner must give a stay and demand that it's a public asset, open the doors.
My next question to you, Ma, is when existence gives you an opportunity, you take the challenge. And I definitely know that you do. Because the work that you're doing right now at Matru Sadan is reason enough for everyone to know that you are the one who has actually been spreading the joy and the learnings and the essence of Bhagwan's teachings so effortlessly amongst people who are differently able. But now my question is, why are you always challenged by existence? What do you think of this?
Just existence is teaching me more lessons through it. And without a challenge, you cannot experience the joy of it.
Right.
And still, existence protects me through the challenges. So I say, I have the hand of my parents on my head, and existence, their best friend, looks after me.
There is this scene in the movie where you're visiting woodlands in Mumbai after so many years. And even there at the gate, as you stand outside, you remember standing there with your father more than 40 years ago. Even when you're sitting on the swing in Vadodara, looking at the takia, Bapuji no takia, you have said this, of your father, we see a side of Sheela that no one has ever seen. Deep down, I believe you are a forever daughter. Why have people been so myopic about you?
I don't know, but I was my parents' daughter. And in our family, we were taught to express our feelings freely. And no place I have gone where I have not showed my feelings. When there are situations where I have to deal with my mind and logic, then in that moment, that is my feeling, and I deal with it. And there are moments filled with rich emotions and memories, then tears are natural. When heart aches, then tears are natural.
We saw a side of Ma Sheela that no one has ever seen before.
Yeah, there were people who have seen me in these vulnerable moments, but they were sannyasins who worked with me, and they would not at this stage say anything good or bad about me for their own fears. And my team here often sees the vulnerable moments in my life, but then they're not in a public eye. And for my siblings, I am just their little sister. My daughter, I have been criticized in this film. Sheila never talks about her daughter or her husbands.
Why?
My husbands are no longer with me. What will I say in their behind their backs?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And my daughter, I will protect her from
No.
public scrutiny that I face.
Thank you.
And it is my personal life, just like everybody else's personal life.
Absolutely.
My love affair with Bhagwan is a public event. It's an international public event.
Yes.
Otherwise, that too one doesn't require talking about. But because
Right.
Bhagwan was a public figure, and caring for him, I became public figure, and we both have to justify the curiosity of public.
Very true. Very true.
Critics of the film should give it a big thought about certain issues. And in all honesty, I cannot satisfy everybody.
Very true.
Not Barkhat Dutt I can satisfy, or other journalists who tried to push me. I could not let them push me.
Of course.
And I could not satisfy their curiosity. And funny thing is, all these ladies who were interviewing me, they had a debacle of their relationship with their friends, boyfriends, or husbands. And they are sour, they are hateful. They expect me to be that. And you have seen it in the film. Barkha says, I want you to be angry at Bhagwan. Who are you to demand she wants me to be angry at Bhagwan? I can feel my own feelings. I need no promotion or prompting from anybody.
Obviously. I have seen the movie and I've seen that scene, and I've loved the way that you've replied back in return that I cannot satisfy you for what you want. And I did smile very big at that moment because at that moment I could see Ma Sheela again.
It is true. You have to laugh at such stupidity. And it was
I
utter
did.
stupidity.
I did. Abhay sir, my next question to you is, and this is for both of you actually. Uh, so you visited the crematorium where Bhagwan was cremated after so many years. And when you took Ma Sheela there to Tulshiram Ghat in Koregaon Park to show where Bhagwan was cremated, yes, this is the place, she prayed and said, Abhay, you have given me a great gift. You have connected me with my master. You've spoken of this earlier right now when we were talking. And these are the pictures of the two of you. How was it there? What was the emotion that Abhay sir, you felt at that moment when you stood there after so many years?
Heart off and
Uh,
on since 1990 uh, because uh, whenever a Osho sannyasin would pass on, the death celebration would happen and at this burning ghat. So off and on I had been visiting, but of course, when Sheila came to Pune, this was one of the important places that she needed to visit, and that is how we went there. And it was, of course, a very emotional moment for Sheila. And this, of course, she can tell in her own words. We have seen it in the film also. I think that was the highlight of her Pune visit, if I could say so.
Definitely, it was the highlight of my Pune visit. It was not expected and not thought about. I wanted to go to Baroda, but I had never had a feeling to go to Pune.
okay.
It was Abhay who thought about it and said, would you like to go to crematorium? I said, definitely, definitely. And it was a gift of Abhay to me.
Closure. Closure is something that can only be experienced. I cannot talk about it. I haven't lived a moment of your life. I wasn't there. But I can see it in the film, that the closure that one can feel when you stand there. You need no words to tell it. It is obvious. Uh, Ma, I ask you on this. Redemption, why is it only expected from a woman, especially someone like you? Why was it searching for Sheila? As according to me, Sheila is more than present and stronger than anyone else. You're one of the most transparent, open, beautiful people one would ever know. What do you think of this? You're like redemption. People were, waiting for you to say something, that I'm feeling bad, or, I have redemption, I want to gain redemption, or something like that. It was there always throughout with everyone who was speaking with you, asking you questions, talking about it. Why is this redemption only expected from women?
It is a sad event. Most people live life and then they engage half-heartedly in their style of living or something, and then they feel guilty. Then they want to redeem themselves.
Yeah,
I was 100% with Bhagwan, 100% in love with him. Even today, I'm in love with him. There was not a moment that I spent with Bhagwan in Punashram or in Rajneshpuram that, that was half-hearted from me.
very,
Why should I feel guilty of this 100% lifestyle?
very right. Very right.
And I have lived there just as transparent as I live now. My life is transparent. I have nothing to redeem. If love is something one requires redemption, then I'm ready to redeem myself. Because my biggest crime is to fall in love with a man like Bhagwan. And I tell you, I would commit that crime over and over again, given the opportunity to fall in love. That may be with Bhagwan or somebody else, I will not back down.
Yeah.
Love is an ultimate state of feeling for me. And if people don't like that I'm in love with Bhagwan, then they need to jump in a lake. I will talk about my feeling of love for Bhagwan till the day I die. They have bad news.
They have bad news. Uh, I'm now asking this to you, Ma Sheila, first, and then I will ask the same to Abhay sir as well. Who Killed Osho asks a lot of questions. Ma, you have been an insider. You were there with Bhagwan. You have lived in the commune. You were there in Rajneshpuram. I like this pic of you where you're sitting with Who Killed Osho.
Right?
Such a beautiful picture. Uh, what is it, according to you, that has been the main reason for the silence of the sannyasis for many years? It's just been there, the silence for so many years, 31 years.
They all want to become enlightened. That's the price they pay for their own enlightenment. They all want to show they are great meditators.
Yeah.
And they all want to show that they are surrendered. It is not that they feel that they can give up all three to protect Bhagwan from these luteras.
Very true.
What can I say? It shames me. And I tell you, none of them are going to be enlightened. Even if Bhagwan is given a certificate of their enlightenment, they are not going to be enlightened because they did not participate in protection of Bhagwan.
Abhay sir, you have been an outsider and you have written the book Who Killed Osho, and it asks a lot of questions again. They say fearlessness is the outcome of meditation. And here again, sir, we see that everyone is kept quiet for 31 years over his death. So, what do you have to say of this? The reason of the silence of 31 years?
So the it is quite interesting. Uh, I saw Osho's followers and Osho's sannyasin, Sheila is one of them,
Yeah.
as extraordinarily brave people and courageous people. They joined uh, the movement. They were with Osho in their youth. They left their families, they left their jobs, they left their careers, and they fell at Rajneesh's feet. And they dedicated their entire life to Osho. But these were the same people, as Sheila just said, who, towards the stage of advanced years in life, they became so insecure and they became so dependent on the ashram for their sustenance and, should one say, livelihood, that they were kind of afraid that what would happen if they spoke out, uh, if they uh, did not uh, follow the commands of the commune management, which was led by Jayesh Amrito. And this was the kind of environment in which there was this wall of secrecy in the commune, which outsiders could not break through. And as I have said in the book, in the very first week that Osho died, there were signs and signals that something is amiss. And these were brought out uh, in fleeting news reports. Even Osho's first secretary, Lakshmi, had
Yes.
raised doubts immediately after Osho had died and the report had appeared in Blitz. But then it all quietened out. And then, of course, after 20 years, this document called Osho's Will surfaced in the European court when everybody got started. Because when Osho had died, the commune had officially said that there was no will. And when this will was subjected to forensic examination, uh, the opposing sannyasins were convinced that it's a forged document. And police complaint and the court case was filed in Pune and in Maharashtra. So, unfortunately, uh, the Osho's closest followers, many of who were members of the inner circle,
Yes.
did not speak up when they needed to speak up. And finally, because I knew them over the years, I had to convince them that for the sake of history, let us bring out the truth. Uh, the official account of Osho's death is a lie. It is very clear. The evidence shows that the official account is fabricated. And each one of you has a part of the story, and I am able to put the entire story together. So I want to hear from you. Where were you and what were you doing that day and what happened? And that is how the story was pieced together, right down to going down Sheila to Vadodara, where we met Dr. Gokul Gokhani. He has his family there, and he was visiting from Oregon to Vadodara, and we rushed down and we interviewed him on video, and that's how an important part of the story of how he signed the death certificate in extremely questionable circumstances has been brought out. So this was the unfortunate part that, but now of course many of them have started speaking out. Many have spoken out. They spoke on record, which is something that I must appreciate for the book. And I interviewed each one of them, going right down to Dharamshala to interview Tathagat and Nilamma. And there were interviews in Delhi, there were interviews in Bombay, and of course Pune. And yeah, so that is how they did speak up. But they did not speak up when really it was necessary to do so. in a sense, raise a hue and cry. And finally, we see that for almost 25-30 years, it is the same management led by Jayesh and Amrito who are controlling the Pune commune, when instead it should be the entire Osho community. And Pune should really be the world headquarters of the Osho movement, because this is where he did the uh, uh, very significant part of his work. Uh, so hopefully the commune will be restored back to being the headquarters of the Osho movement. That is the kind of confidence I have.
Actually, the charity commissioner
Ma.
must choose new trustees. They cannot leave it up to these people, because they are corrupt and they will continue their corruption.
I agree with you. And one of the points that has been mentioned is that the least that the charity commissioner can do is appoint an administrator and bring in a new body to run the commune.
And all the administrative work should be done open in front of thousands of sannyasins.
Absolutely. There should be complete transparency.
Ma, I want to ask you, what according to you has been the reason for everything to go so wrong with the commune? It has now just become a mere piece of real estate to OIF. The Osho International Foundation has only made it a mere piece of real estate by destroying the legacy, the Buddha field, the heritage, what Bhagwan had left for his followers. Now, what according to you has gone wrong? Exactly.
What is going wrong is the management is in the hands of wrong people. And the sannyasins all are occupied with their meditation, surrender, and enlightenment.
Very.
It was the basic issue, basic problem, and it continues the same.
Right.
They should think of meditating and becoming enlightened and think of their surrender after they have removed all those people who have damaged Bhagwan. And then they can meditate as much as they want to. Then they can be enlightened and fly away, it's okay. Then we can all sing songs of their surrender.
Abhay, so what according to you has been the reason for everything to go wrong with the commune? They have only declared it as a mere piece of real estate. We are selling these two plots for 107 crores. 2011, somebody appears and says that he wants to donate Osho Sanai. And the funniest part is Mukesh Kantilal Sarda is a trustee here also and is a trustee there also in Darshan Trust. So what is it that has gone so wrong with the commune that this Buddha field has become just a mere piece of real estate for OIS?
Exactly what Sheila said, that the people running the commune uh, did not have pure intentions. It almost seemed as if they had come with a plan to seize control of the commune and its management and do things as they pleased. And all the senior sannyasins of Osho, as I had mentioned earlier, were forcibly asked to leave, or the conditions were created in such a way that they left on their own. one by one, everyone left, and leaving uh, leaving the field for the management which has been running and taking all these controversial decisions. My very important point here is that there were some Indian sannyasins and who need to be asked by the other sannyasins and who need to come forward and give an explanation. So Mukesh Kantilal Sarda, Amrit Sabna, Devendra Singh Deval, these are the Indian followers who were at the front, who did all the paperwork. Whereas Jayesh and Amrito, one Canadian-born chairman of OIF and the other Osho's personal physician, the British-born Dr. John Andrews, these were at, at, at the back uh, directing these actions. And the sale deed, uh, which the proposal which has been presented to the charity commissioner, it is the Indian trustees who have signed, saying that they are in agreement to the sale of part of Osho's property. So this is something that needs to be questioned by the entire community. And while we blame the foreigners, what were these Indians doing, and how did they become a party to such affairs and such decisions and such actions? So that is how it has been happening.
Very true. Very true. I've read your book, Who Killed Osho. My entire series is based on the facts written in your book. And there's a chapter in it that is, it's all about money, honey. So, sir, I think it's all about money over here right now. That has made
Yeah,
people sell their soul, not, uh, being for their guru, but being for what is right now. It's all about money for them, unfortunately. Uh, Ma, I want to ask you this, and this is something that has been coming in my heart for a very long time, and I think you will be the best person to tell me about it. Uh, you knew Bhagwan closely, and you know about the death of Ma Prem Nirvano, Vivek. You think Bhagwan would choose silence over the death of Vivek, asking her to be cremated in the quiet of the night, not coming to see her one last time, and not even giving her a celebration of death? Ma, what do you think of this?
Foul play. Foul play of people who wanted Vivek out of their way so she doesn't become a thorn on their hip.
We've been thinking on the same line. Whenever I read about the death of Ma Prem Nirvana, the lies that has been put forth, the injustice given to her in death, not even being identified by her real name, the lies that has been written, I now, when I'm asking you, I know that you knew Bhagwan closely, and since it comes from you, you're taking it to be the word of Bhagwan. Uh, I would now request the studio to share some pictures and some comments that are there with us. Shri Iqbal Singh writes to us, Abhay, next Netflix docu should be on your book. Swami Premvartan writes, thieves have entered Osho's neo-sannyas movement and have hijacked it. I leave you my dream was told by Amrito and there is no record of it. There is no record of it when he was told. Swami Prem Sajan had asked, please elaborate about Osho said, I leave you my dream. Shweta asked Sheila, what was the need to eliminate Nirvana? What can be the motive of Jayesh Amrito? Ma will be the best person to answer this. What can be the motive of Jayesh Amrito to remove Nirvana?
Maybe Nirvana, I know her as Vivek,
Yes.
and I prefer to call her Vivek, may have objected in dealing with Bhagwan, how they were administering medicines to Bhagwan or drugs or whatever they were doing. And I can tell you that one of the older sannyasin who has been on your show told me this story himself, that one day he goes to visit Bhagwan in Pune, and Vivek runs to him and gives him a hug and says, save Bhagwan. Now, the way I know Vivek would never hug any Indians. And when she goes and hugs him and whispers in his ears that save Bhagwan, you can imagine what condition Bhagwan would be. Why did he not do something? Is my question. And I'm sure there are many such stories going around. And this can be recognized by Devraj and Jayesh or whoever they are. And that may be a one reason they wanted Vivek out of it.
शीला माँ, यू आर ग्रेट. ये समझने के लिए व्यक्ति को उस स्टेट से गुजरना होगा. Prem Khalis ji writes this to us, that a person has to go through what you've gone through.
आपकी बात में मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ. अब मैं हिंदी में जवाब देती हूँ आपको, स्वामी विचार के कारण. विचार ने आज भी मुझे बोला था कि हिंदी में बात करना है. विचार, आई एम सॉरी, मगर हिंदी इतना जल्दी मुंह में आता नहीं है. मगर आपकी विश पूरी कर दी अब.
Yeah, heard. Rameshwar Yadav ji writes to us, this is the right time to prove Sheila herself as a true disciple of Sadhguru Osho. Save Commune International Pune from those hyenas and vultures like Jayesh Amrito and OIF.
Question is for me?
It's a general statement that you are the true disciple of Osho, and you can save the Pune International Commune from hyenas and vultures like Jayesh Amrito and OIF. This is written over there. I have to read it. Swami Premvartan writes, Sheila certainly became a victim. I have all compassion for her. The commune was destroyed by the American government and fanatic Christians because it was the first time that Christians had moved out of their fold without getting into another fold. A Hindu becomes a Christian, he leaves one prison and enters another. A Christian becomes a Hindu, he leaves one bondage and accepts another. For the first time, they saw that you can leave the prison and there is no need to enter another. Pratima Kaushik ji writes, we feel so lucky to visit dear Sheila Ma at her house in Switzerland and stayed 2 days since then, our heart got touched by listening to All the Truth by Ma Sheela. We are so thankful and grateful. Uh, Abhay, sir, we often get to hear this that you should translate your book in Hindi.
Not by me. He won't sell a single copy.
Uh, Really, Ma Sheela, it was indeed very wonderful to have you here with us today. Pratima Kaushik writes to me, thank you, dear Shweta, for inviting such beautiful people. Yes, indeed, I'm very honored to have such beautiful people talking to me one to one. I must have done something right in life.
I'm sorry, I did.
I said I must have done something right in life to listen to such beautiful people one to one.
You have done a lot of things right in life and you're continuing to do it.
Thank you. Swami Prem Khalis writes lots of thanks to Ma. Abhay sir, since you are back, I must tell you, we get a lot of people telling us that you must translate Who Killed Osho into Hindi.
Good idea.
Yes, I have received that feedback, and I can assure all of them that this will be done.
This will be done. Who Killed Osho will be done in Hindi very soon. Swami Prem Ravartan asks you, this is for you, Ma Sheela. Ma, if neo sannyasis invite you to start Rajneeshpuram in India again, would you help them to build one?
I will help them as a consultant outside the commune. I will hold no position, official, non-official. I can give them my practical understanding if they require.
You see, I must say in this regards, sorry for the interruption, but one of Sheila's great abilities is her organizational
Abhay sir, we
capacity.
can't hear you. So you'll have to come closer and speak, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Am I
Yes,
audible
sir.
now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are.
So I was saying that Sheila's organizational abilities are something that really created the Oregon commune, where you had the city of Rajneeshpuram, which came into existence with more than 5,000 people. And even before that, uh, when she was Osho's secretary, that time he was Bhagavan Shri Rajneesh in Pune 1. Pune 1 is the period from 1974 to 81. And she took over from Ayog Lakshmi. She had demonstrated her organizational abilities, and the entire movement, which from the time when Rajneesh left for the US and the Oregon Rajneeshpuram was created, was all led by Sheila. So, phenomenal organizational capacity, and we see that in the film also, the Matru Southern home that Sheila has been running. So, yes, this is adding to what you said about uh, providing guidance to recreating the and giving leadership to the movement.
Rameshwar Yadav writes, thank you, Shweta ji, for this courageous movement. Jai Osho. I must take this opportunity to say that NIN Live has created a platform to bring forward and talk about this movement, to not allow the cell of Osho's Basho to be given away, to be looted off. He is the national heritage of this country, and he has sat in this very Buddha field and given so many wonderful meditations, lectures, and so many pearls of his wisdom to the people of this country. We are very honored to bring all of you together over here and talk to each and every one of you about what we can do to save Osho's Buddha field for the generations to come. Thank you. I must say thank you to my viewers too, who send me such comments. Thank you, Ma Sheela. Thank you, Abhay sir, for joining with us today and for talking with us.
Thank you
Uh,
very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. With this, we come to an end of today's episode of Osho, our National Treasure. We will be back again with another episode very soon. Good evening, Namaskar, and Jai Hind.